just ran my first 10K, that's 6.2 miles, in an hour and 15 minutes for fun with no programming. So I'm going to explain the 5 main tips that have allowed me to go from struggling to run a single mile to actually enjoying long distance running. Never thought that I'd be this big of a fan of cardio, but I'm about to spread the propaganda. All the timestamps are going to be linked below, so let's get right into it. So I'm going to talk about these from the smallest to the greatest change, and the last 2 are really going to be those big important mindset shifts. So before we kind of get into the tips, I'm going to talk a little bit about this day that I actually ran this 10K. I've been doing the 75 hard, and you have to do 2 45-minute workouts. One of them has to be outdoors. Now, like I mentioned, I don't have like a running program. I kind of just do what I feel like it. Usually I'll run 2 or 2.5 miles before I do like a regular workout, but I decided today was the day. I was just gonna run for 45 minutes straight. And this is gonna tie into the last tip, which has really helped me change my mindset about it. But yes, I just got out there, and then during the run, I was feeling pretty good. I'm out here on a trail. It's feeling really nice, and I'm in a good mood. And I'm like, I'm probably gonna hit at least 4 miles as I'm getting into the run. So then I was like, might as well hit 5. I know 5 miles will be my longest run. And then I was like, I'm gonna hit the 5 miles, and I feel pretty good. I might as well hit the 10K, the 6.2 miles. I think something that I do when I'm training is I take advantage of times where I am feeling good and I'm feeling motivated, because I know that's not always gonna happen. You can't rely on motivation, but when it does come, I take it and run. So yeah, literally I was just running for fun. Just like, how far can I go if I run for 45 minutes? And then I was in a good mood, and I just kept adding on to that. Ended up running my first 10K completely like on accident, just because I was in a good mood. Took me an hour and 15 minutes. So now let's get into the 5 tips which have helped me change my mindset from, barely being able to like run a mile to just say, let me just see where the day takes me, and getting to a 10K like quite casually. So first off, I got some new shoes, and I started tracking my runs a bit more meticulously. So I started out running with the Hover Phantom 2s, and you can see this is a pretty comfortable shoe, has a very sock-like feel, but it does not have laces, and the shoe is actually too small for me. And my toes really started rubbing against the toe box, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to keep running long distances in these. So I did some very mild research, and if you've watched any of my finance videos, you know that I have a spending problem. And so I ended up kind of impulsively buying these Nike Pegasus. I don't remember what number they are. I don't really know the boxes right now, but I'll probably put a picture or something. These are rather comfortable. I did end up going to some running stores to like get fitted and to learn a little bit about my shoes. Always get second opinions on, information. So I got some new gear to make me feel more comfortable in what I was, running in. I also got some trackers. You may have seen I do have a Whoop band, which I keep on my bicep. This tracks my heart rate, my sleep, and a couple other things. And I also got an Oura ring, which kind of does the same thing. Oura ring versus Roop review coming soon. But yeah, literally like when I put on my gear before I go on the run, it feels like I'm, gearing up for battle. Like I'm putting on my Thanos glove, and I'm about to go Scrooge for Infinity Stones with every mile and every pace that I run. So investing into gear has just really upped my confidence in my running, and psychologically just makes me feel like I know what I'm doing a little better. This could be completely placebo, and I'm kind of okay with that. But yes, do make sure that you are wearing shoes that are comfortable and, made to go like with your feet, and take some time to invest in yourself. I know I was spending money on stuff that meant way less and was a bit more obnoxious, so this was a good investment for me. The next thing was transferring from neighborhood running to trail running. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't run in neighborhoods at all. Like, that's the most convenient. You could just walk outside and get a good exercise in. But especially with living in the city, every block there's like a crossway, there's traffic lights, cars coming, people not paying attention, people with their dogs in the way acting like they just own the whole sidewalk. And when you're on a trail, you can be more focused, you can go at a certain pace for a more consistent amount of time, and you're also around people who are really into fitness, which is just naturally quite motivating. And like I mentioned, you can go at a more consistent pace, which is definitely well worth it. So the next thing is I've started started training in hotter temperatures. And what training in the heat has done has gotten me used to discomfort, and I can go for longer periods of time. So let me explain that a little bit. I usually run like a 2.5 mile run before I do my kickboxing training, and one day it was just so hot. And I was like dreading kind of going to the gym because I knew I wanted to start off with a run. And then I started to just think to myself, like anytime the weather is bad or not convenient, now I'm just like, you know, today is the day that it really matters. Not a whole bunch of other people are going out to do this, especially when they have the option, you know, of a treadmill. And you know, when I get back to the gym, people be kind of looking at me like crazy, like, oh, you like still went out and did that. And it's like, yeah, today is the most important. It's helping me get over that mental hurdle. And you know, while I might be like dreading it a bit, while I'm in the run, you know, I'm going at a slower pace, and I'm like, dang, I know like this run is not going to be like as powerful. I still like am showing up for myself. I'm saying that, Corey, you're getting out there, and I'm getting used to the discomfort of running in the hotter temperature. Now, throughout the day, I am staying hydrated, you know, making sure that I'm recovering, you know, later in the day and stuff. And I'm not like overdoing it, but it's like your body can probably handle a lot more than you're giving yourself credit for. When you start to get to that point of the runner's high, it's kind of like, okay, this was definitely well worth it. You get used to the discomfort, and then when you do run in a time where it's not as hot, then your body is gonna be like, oh, this is like nothing, you know, it's gonna be able to adjust a little better. And I think that's helped me run longer distances. This is not on the list, but I have also started swimming, which has helped with my lung capacity. I don't know if swimming really transfers over a whole bunch into running, but I can hold my breath in general for longer, and you know, it probably affects, you know, the oxygen in the body in a certain way or whatever. So yes, the hardest part of a run now is not my lungs necessarily, it's my body and my physical muscles getting fatigued after like going for such a long distance. Whereas when I first started out running, the main thing was just me feeling like I was constantly out of breath, like no matter how fast or slow or long I was going. So yes, running in hotter temperatures has allowed me to adjust a lot more, get used to discomfort, and just push through when the circumstances are not ideal. These next two are really important. So this next tip is focusing on pace versus speed. So I used to look at my statistics after my run, and the main thing I would be focused on, okay, how fast did I go for certain miles? And I specifically mean this like over a distance run. And my mindset has changed because now I focus on like how long can I go for a consistent pace. So say if my goal for the day is to do a 2-mile run before I go to the kickboxing gym, my focus won't be on, you know, how fast am I going each mile necessarily. It's more so about how long can I go at a consistent pace, and how long can I do that comfortably. I've noticed for me at like that 1.7, that 2-mile mark is when I get runner's high for at least like that first bout of it, and I'm like getting used to the discomfort, and I start going on cruise control. And I focus on that instead of putting, you know, so much pressure on myself to try and go a little faster than I did last time. If I'm focusing on distance, you know, this is quite literally, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so I'm focusing just on how long I can go as opposed to how fast I'm going. Which is leading me right into the next one, which is focusing on the time that I'm running as opposed to the amount of miles that I'm running. And I actually got this from Becca on YouTube. She does like a running channel. I don't watch a whole bunch of running channels, but you know, I just like her vlogs and stuff. She pretty much said something along the lines of, if you want to run a longer distance, you have to run for a longer period of time. And so I used the Adidas Run app. It used to tell me like how fast I was going each mile, and then so I would get like every half mile it would, you know, tell me how long it's taken. I usually take about 5 minutes to run a half mile, but now I switched it from notifying me every mile to notifying me every 5 minutes. And then my goal is just to run for that 40 or 45 minutes as opposed to run for 3-4 miles. If I want to eventually be able to run a half marathon or a marathon, like I'm gonna have to be running for a certain amount of hours. So let me get used to running for that period of time. Eventually my distance is going to get better. Eventually my speed is going to get better the more that I just focus on running for longer periods of time, as opposed to, okay, let me just run for this 2 miles, or let me just run for this 3 miles. Now that works when I just want to run like before I do like my regular kickboxing workout, or before I do like a weight training workout. But on days where I focus on running, I just focus on the time that I'm running. And that's how I ended up running for that 6.2 miles, kind of like out of nowhere. I was just in a good mood. I implored inputted like all these steps that I've implemented, all of these steps that I just mentioned, get my longest distance in, get that 10K in, just to see what it feels like. And now I do want to actually sign up for a 10K race. One thing I'd like to add is kind of like a bonus thing. I just came across this on YouTube, like people who have like physical like disabilities, you know, things where they straight up like maybe they don't have like their legs or any of their limbs, or you know, they were in like some sort of accident, or there was some sort of like, a lot of people are like born that way, and it's allowed me to be like more grateful for like the limbs that I have, the actively working limbs that I have, that I can do like crazy things with. I was realizing I have so much that I could be grateful for when it comes to my body. Like, I'm so healthy, and there's a lot that I can do and a lot that I can improve on. So it just motivated me to keep pushing, because you know, people who have been put in these circumstances, you know, this is maybe like one of the main things that are on their mind, how they don't have, you know, a foot or like a leg, or something had to get cut off. So yeah, that's just another thing. I could do a whole like uncut series on just, you know, just being grateful for the body that you're in. Like, everybody has their thing with their body that, you know, they're unhappy with, but it's like there's a lot of people who would just like their leg, and they've learned to adapt. The way that they learn to adapt is just really inspiring for me. So sometimes I'll watch those videos and I'm like, I have to get out here. I have to push myself, because I've been blessed with this healthy body. You know what I'm saying? My new goals are to actually sign up for a 10K race and eventually a half marathon. And in the meantime, I want to run a sub 35K, so that's a 5K in under 30 minutes, about a 10-minute pace. And then a sub 1 hour 10K, which is the same pace, just for a longer distance. If you'd like to learn more about me learning how to do and enjoy long distance running, you should check out my 5K video right here. I'm gonna eventually hit that half marathon and then that marathon, and maybe one day I'll do that Ironman. Gotta learn how to swim before I do that though. But yes, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. I hope you push yourself today, you know, show some gratitude, and yeah, thank you for watching.